Hey everybody, welcome back to another Jackson Jet Setting flight review. Today we're flying Hawaiian Airlines' 787 in first class from Phoenix to Honolulu. After check-in, we headed to the Escape Lounge, which I had access to with my American Express Platinum card. Got all of us in, no guest fees. Hawaiian uses Terminal 3 in Phoenix, which is one of the better terminals that we have. And we got lucky because this was one of the last flights that they were flying from Phoenix with the 787. So if you're watching this video, you'll probably be flying this plane between JFK and Honolulu, or even to some of Hawaiian or Alaska's new long-haul destinations. I booked this flight using my business Amex's 35% back using points feature, so I was able to book this business class flight for my wife and I, as well as my lap child son, for very cheap. Booking this way also helps me with my quest to Alaska status this year. So while it is a short flight to Honolulu relatively, it is great to have this brand new aircraft with your own private door, especially with a toddler that is a little rambunctious in the air. We chose the seats next to the windows because it just fit our family a little bit better. The middle seats face away from each other, and we just thought that would be a problem with our kid. He definitely settled in nicely, and this is definitely a hack for anyone who's traveling with a lap child because they're free and you don't have to pay anything extra in taxes since this is a domestic flight. During the seat, there is a wireless charger that didn't work very well, but it's cool that they included that. All the controls and plugs available as well. This is a very well-designed seat. I felt like the seat itself was maybe not too comfortable, and that's a frequent complaint I have about a lot of airline seats in business class and first class. Your own private light, which is fun to play with. And since this is a 787, you can control your window with a button, but you can't make it all the way dark. There's no window shades. I do like Hawaiian's in-flight entertainment system. TVs were nice and large, and I did like the selection of films. There's a nice shelf to store items during flight, but we were pretty much ready to go and super excited to get over to Hawaii for our extended vacation. It's so nice having these direct flights with wide bodies to long haul destinations for us. Don't have that too much here in Phoenix, so it's nice that these flights exist. Hawaiian provides some bedding for the flight as well, but with a almost 2-year-old, not going to be using that. Plenty of room to stretch out though, and some great entertainment on board Hawaiian. And when it's time for meals, it's a pretty easy system to get the tray table to retract from in front of you, and it twists a little bit. So it took a little bit of getting used to, but once I figured that out, it was easy to use. Start out with a complimentary Mai Tai. Alcohol, of course, is included in your first class ticket. Here's a look at our menu. So there's just one meal service during this trip. It's a pretty short flight, under 6 hours. Loved the lighting in the cabin. And it was about time to take off, so I had a great view of the engines and the wing. A really short safety video before we took off as well, and I liked how they subtitled things in Hawaiian. I just love flying national airlines, or in this case, kind of the state airline. It just feels like I'm already at the destination before I even get there. Some goodbye messages from the crew on the ground, because this was like the third to last flight, and this might have been the last flight for this particular aircraft. This was a pretty early morning flight, left at 7:10 in the morning, I believe, so it was an early rise for us as a family of 3. But the good news is once we got to Hawaii with the time change, we were still in the morning hours at about 11:30 a.m. So we had the whole day to explore once we got on the ground. It was nice to finally get moving and enjoy the views of Phoenix as we departed. But shortly after takeoff, it was time for our in-flight service. I was excited because previous flights on Hawaiian showed how good the catering actually was. Love the macadamia nuts with my iced coffee. A little bouncy here, but here's a look at my Portuguese sausage and fried rice. I also had my child in my arms, so I was making things work here. And then a delicious hapia chocolate cake to end things. Love the stylings on the ceilings and in the bathrooms, even the Hawaiian Islands on basically their like wallpaper. And the child changing stations were easy to use as well, so just wanted to know that those are available. But besides that, it's basically an airline bathroom. But after that, I decided to shut my door. It's nice that when you're traveling with a young kid, having these doors just feels like you're bothering the passengers around you a little bit less. Brought around some snack mix throughout the flight as well. And I like that they had Lilo and Stitch for our kid to zone out and have some fun in flight. We were slowly making our way to Honolulu, but the flight moved very fast. Shout out to the busy bag that we bought before the flight to entertain our kiddo. And before we arrived in Honolulu, they brought around some Honolulu cookies, which is just my favorite part of the flight. I love these cookies. They're all over the place in Honolulu if you have never had them. And while most of the flight is not amazing in terms of view, since you're just flying over the Pacific, once you do start approaching the Hawaiian Islands, the views get exponentially better. I love looking at the water from the air, looking at different sides of the island that we may visit during the trip. So we did have a beautiful approach today into Honolulu International Airport. So while I do think that this plane was awesome for Phoenix, I understand completely why they would move the 787 to longer routes like from JFK. The seats are really great. Obviously, the doors are very popular in aviation now. This is the new thing that every airline basically has to add to business class to make it feel premium. And so they are definitely moving that to those more premium markets so they can get a higher price. And with Hawaiian merging with Alaska, they're now trying to utilize these long-haul aircraft in better ways to more interesting destinations. So this plane is probably not going to return to Phoenix, so we felt very fortunate that we were able to try it out and for a pretty reasonable price as well. It's just really nice having these lie flat seats and just extra room on these longer flights from Phoenix. So we do still have the A330 flights, and so we'll probably take that one of these days. But the 787 was definitely a treat. So on the ground, we spent about a week and a half in Hawaii. We headed straight to the Ritz-Carlton Turtle Bay. You can check out that full tour on the channel. We had an amazing time, and this is just a really special place on the North Shore. It's a good spot to use your Marriott points. You got horsies, but over 1,300 acres to play around in, so that's one option. So this is a good option if you want a resort that's like maybe a little further away from the action. Other parts of this trip we spent over in Honolulu as well, bouncing around some different properties there, checking out those spots. And I do love Honolulu for one, the cuisine, some of the best Asian food in all of America. But this resort is really made for maybe the surfers in your group or people that just really enjoy being as close to the ocean as possible. It's kind of hard to do that on Waikiki, even though you're on the beach and there are a lot more people. So that definitely felt more private. So flying back, we flew Hawaiian as well. This time on the A330 and this time in economy, but we did have some extra legroom seats courtesy of my Alaska Airlines status. I love that new benefit. So it did help us out a little bit with our kiddo, but we were definitely missing first class because our kid was a little rambunctious on this flight, but he did pretty good for an under 2-year-old. And here's a look at my in-flight meal that I promptly spilled all over myself. That's it for the video today. Thanks a lot for watching, and we'll see you on the next video.